was be asked to serve as the faith director for Minnesota's United Call family. There is a lot that happened in this last year. In 2011, May of 2011, people who work in this building and across the street decided that we should have a conversation in the state of Minnesota. And the very first group of people who said, okay, let's go, were the clergy and the religious leaders who were standing in front of you. You know, we were nervous, we were a little scared when we got going on these conversations, and the reason we were was because before this, 30 times in the United States, states have said, let's put a constitutional amendment in place to limit the freedom to marry for a particular group of people, gay and lesbian people. 30 times that happened, and 30 times it passed. But not 31. We would stop here in Minnesota as a board and as Minnesota. I have the kind of arrogance that goes along with that. If you're not from here, you know what I mean? And I wanted to believe, because I have all my life, that Minnesota is different. It's okay. Because we never won, and we defeated this bill. This was a conflict. We defeated the amendment. This was a conflict that we did not ask for. It was a conflict that probably most of us, me included, did not feel prepared for. But we took it on, and as we did, we learned. There were a number of things that we learned. First of all, we learned that when Minnesotans take the time to talk to each other about marriage, when we take the time to talk to each other, we find that there is broad agreement that marriage is fundamentally about love, a commitment to two people. To look each other in the eye and commit to each other to take responsibility for each other, and we know what that is because so many of us have experienced it, and we want everyone to have the freedom to do simply that. We learned as Minnesotans that when we take the time to talk to one another, we are talking about us, ourselves, as gay and lesbian people, or our aunts, or our uncles, or our children, or our mothers, or our fathers. We are talking about us. We learned in Minnesota that this conversation is about our own families. Most of all, I think we learned that a conversation that we thought perhaps was so difficult that we couldn't have it, we can. On November 6th, Minnesotans went to the polls, and they said, no, we are not adding this to our Constitution. And so what was left for us? What was left for us was the question that has been hanging in the air for so many years. So then, when will there be equality of marriage? When will that happen? And I would submit to you that until this last year, we were not clear on the answer to that question. When? Before we were challenged with a constitutional amendment, we would not have known the answer. But now, the legislature in 2011 gave us a little bit of help. Down the path, they gave us a little bit of help. We got to remember the same thing. And now when we ask the question when, I believe the answer to us has become clear. Now, now's the time, and 2013 is the year. I know for a fact that that's why you're here today. I have met no less than 10 people this afternoon who told me that either they or their child, it was their first rally. And I want to tell you, I want you to keep coming to rallies, but our aim is to make this the last Freedom to Marry rally in Minnesota. Our message to those in the House and in the Senate, and to a governor who we know already stands with us, is now is the time, this is the year. Say that with me. Now is the time, this is the year. 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 So communities of faith have played a critical role in defeating the marriage amendment, and communities of faith, those of you gathered here today, and those of you who will be coming here in the coming weeks, have played and will play a critical role in defining Minnesota as a state where everyone has the freedom to marry, as a state where we understand everyone who wants to commit to another in love and an act of marriage is free to do so, and we're proud of that. This time we don't go alone. We were the first to defeat an amendment, but there are some states who have gone before us. There are some states that have decided everyone ought to be able to be free to be married. Maryland is one. People of faith across this country, including in Minnesota and including in Maryland, have taken the lead on this movement. And I want to introduce to you the faith director from the state of Maryland, which this year passed the freedom to marry.